In this lesson of order of operations and evaluating expressions, we're going to take those expressions like the ones that you wrote in the last lesson and see how to actually evaluate them. And evaluate simply just means find the value of those. So the learning target is that I can simplify expressions involving exponents. In case your mind is a little foggy on what we're talking about with exponents and exactly what that looks like, here is a very good diagram that labels everything. So the expression 6 to the third, the whole thing is called the power. The 6 is the base. This is the factor that's being repeated in multiplication. The 3, the exponent, or sometimes you'll see it called the power or the index, that tells you how many times the 6 is being multiplied by itself. So a power shows, or exponents, those show repeated multiplication. 6 to the third is equal to 6 times 6 times 6. This is the normal representation. This is not the smaller shrunken down version that we would use with exponents, and that shows the base exponent multiplied, and that's how many times it's being multiplied. So if you were to actually evaluate that, 6 times 6 is 36. Oh, let's see if that's going to write. Oh, there it goes. It took it a second. Times 6, and 36 times 6, whenever you multiply that, ends up being 216. So here are the order of operations. You'll hear this called PEMDAS, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, and you're very, very familiar with this. However, I like the way that this is labeled as a 4-step system instead of 6. Yeah, there's 6 operations going on there, but it is extremely important that you see that multiplication and division is one step. You go left to right. Even if division was written before the multiplication, you would do it first because you read the problem left to right. Do all the multiplication and division at one time. Same goes with addition and subtraction, that you go left to right, working out all the addition and or subtraction. So let's go back to the first one, parentheses. You do this first. Do all the operations within the parentheses or the brackets, any kind of grouping symbols. You'll even see parenthesis within a set of parentheses, and you do this from the inside out. So within each parentheses, it's like you're working out order of operations inside there. Next is the exponents. Work out all the powers and or roots, like square roots, and we'll get to that later on into the year, doing that left to right. And like I said, multiplication and division, left to right, then addition and subtraction, left to right. First, let's start by simplifying these expressions using the order of operations. On A, you have an exponent. You have 2/3 to the third power. Remember that 3 there means that I have 3 2/3 that are being multiplied together. It is not 2/3 times 3. So I'm going to start by expanding this out. I have 3 2/3 that are being multiplied together. In multiplying fractions, I go straight across. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. Check to make sure it cannot be simplified, and it can't. So there's the simplified form. On part B here, I have 6 to the 4th divided by 3 squared, all of that over 9. I'm going to start with the top of my division here. 6 to the 4th, well, I know that that is like 6 times 6 times 6 times 6. So that would be 36. I'm working up here. Times 36, use my handy dandy calculator for that, which is 1,296. Then we're going to divide that by 3 times 3, which is 9. All of that over 9. So I'm going to take my 1,296, divide by 9, and I get 144 over 9. Divide that again, and I get 16. Now I want you to notice something. I did use my calculator. However, I wrote out my steps. I'm fine with you using a calculator, but I still want to see your steps, because let's say you came up with 32. I don't know where to help you, and neither do you, and you have to go back through all of those steps. So it's fine to use a calculator, but write each step out. The calculator is just doing the calculation for you. Let's come down here to practice C. I have 52 plus 8 squared minus 3 times the quantity, 4 minus 2 to the third. A lot going on there. Let's make sure we use order of operations. I'm going to start with the parentheses, which is going to be 4 minus 2, which is 2. I'm going to rewrite the rest of it so that this looks like a Christmas tree upside down, and we're filtering everything down through it. So I've worked my parentheses. Now I'm going to work exponents left to right, which is going to be 8 squared. So bring down 52 plus 8 squared is 64 minus 3 times 2 to the third. That's 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. Now I'm ready for multiplication and division. 3 times 8 is 24. Bring down the rest of it. I'm running out of room, so I'm going to bring that up here, which is definitely something you can do on your notebook paper. 52 plus 64 minus 24. Go left to right. 52 plus 64, 2 plus 4 is 6. 5 plus 6 is 11. Minus 24. Then I'm going to subtract 4 from 6 and get 2. 11 minus 2 is 92. I'm going to check that in my head. Yep, that looks right. And I have 92. Again, you'll notice I did all those in my head. These are simple calculations. I do not want you to be crippled by a calculator so that you cannot think on your own. Definitely okay to check things on there or to do really big math like 36 times 36. However, don't be so dependent on it that your brain quits functioning. Okay? So now we're going to evaluate for A equals 3 and B equals 4, which means I'm going to substitute those values in and then simplify. So let's put these values in. 3 times B is 4 minus 3 squared. If you'll notice, I actually wrote that out. I'm not trying to do too much in my head because that's where you take something simple and you goof up because you're trying to do too much in your head at once. It didn't take me but another 3 seconds to write that out. Now I'm ready to do exponents. 9 is 3 squared. And then multiply. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 minus 9 is 3. Let's come over here to part E. On part E, I'm going to start by substituting it in. So negative 4 times B squared. B is 4. Minus 7 times A is 3. Working the exponents. And actually there are parentheses, but there's nothing inside the parenthesis to be done. So we're going to go to exponents. 4 squared is 16. So I'm going to have negative 4 times 16. 7 times 3 is 21. Do some more multiplying. Negative 4 times 16, different signs, so it's going to be a negative. 4 times 16 is 64. Then 64 minus 21 is negative 85.